Hello, this is Talon here, and welcome to another repair video. In this video, we are looking at this iPhone XR. You can clearly see that its back is pretty smashed up. But there's also another issue with this phone. The screen is also busted. So we've got two fixes on this phone to do. As you can see, you got some lines. So the screen is not broken, but the display has issues. Well, actually, you can kind of see it. Oh my. Yeah, that's from the drop there. Well, I've already taken the screws out, the pentalobe screws. The phone is now very hot, as you can see. Temperature, iPhone needs to cool down. Now I'm going to be taking my suction cup right here, and let's get it in place. All you got to do is pull a little bit. With these iPhone XRs, they're very easy to get the screen out. There you go, see? It was sitting on my heat mat at about 90 degrees Celsius for, I don't know, 3 minutes-ish. So once you've got it up like that, I'm just going to dribble a little bit of alcohol right along here. Just needs a little bit. Wiggle back and forth. Screen with this one, it goes out this way, not this way like most of the newer iPhones, like the iPhone 12 and up. Wasn't that easy. Wow. Just got some shields to take off. One shield, two shields, three shields. So it's this little bit right here. If you guys can see it. This one right here. That bit right there has a tendency to break off. It's not the biggest deal in the world if it does break off. It's just a bit annoying, that's all. You want to first disconnect the battery. Let's get that out. And then you can disconnect the screen. You can do it with a nail if it's long enough. If you're uncomfortable doing that, you can use a spudger or tweezers if you're careful. I do use tweezers occasionally, but something like this little pry tool, get in there under a corner and you can pull it up. I find it hard to use that, so I use my nails. It comes up pretty easily. The next thing you got to do is you need to go and put a little bit of Kapton tape. This stuff here, this is usually used for covering up areas that you don't want to be connected for electrical currents and plates and stuff like that, and to protect the area from heat. I'm going to go and take out this adhesive in advance as well. And the reason why I'm taking this adhesive out in advance is because it'll be easier to clean out right now than it would be later. So I've just got myself a glue remover tool. Just go in there and it scoops it right out. Now I'm not ready to go and put the screen in place at this point because I'm going to be marching over to the laser machine to get that backglass removed. Now the laser machine only loosens up the glue. It doesn't actually remove the glass itself. It's not just going to fall out. Now I've already prepped for the initial lasering process. I put on my safety glasses because you really do not want to get glass flung at you while you're doing this. On the other hand, this is one of the absolute easiest of the iPhones to repair. It's even easier than the iPhone 8. I just remembered that I need my heat gun. Now, if you don't have a hole to work from, like I like starting right here. This right here in this area, it's a great spot to work from. It's just a nice big wide open space. So you just take your punch tool, and I'm just gonna go at it. There we go, I've made some holes. Let me bring this up a bit closer. My vent, you really need the vent. It is really important because there's so much ash from the paint underneath. And you really don't want to breathe that in. Next, going in with the chisel blade. See how easy that comes out? If it's white though, oh my gosh, is it ever hard. It is so hard when it's a white backglass. And it's simply because the white absorbs so much of the laser energy and just doesn't really come off very well. So I'm just going to continue at this. This section right here, I need heat. And also this section right along here needs heat as well. Now regarding the tools that I'm using, which really pretty much everything except the vent, I've put it into the video description, and you can find Amazon affiliate links. I make a small, tiny little profit off of those links when you use them to make purchases. This section though here, you can see I'm working at it and nothing's happening. So, gotta use some heat. Don't let it sit in one spot. You don't want to burn anything. This isn't the hottest heat gun in the world anyways, but still, you don't want to burn anything, you know? There. Just that easy. Now you just gotta be careful around this bottom area here. There's a cable here, there's a cable here, and there's this right here, which is the back of the charge port. If you slice this, you lose your microphone. If you slice this, I can't remember. It might be a microphone as well. I think it's another microphone. So either way, be careful around those cables, because if you slice either one of those, you're going to have to replace the entire charge port ribbon cable module. And that's not very fun to do. I have never done it before. I'm always careful. I'm trying to think of a time that I have, but the only time I have damaged ribbon cable was up around here on an iPhone 11, and I needed to replace the flash and that whole assembly with the microphone in that area. It was dreadful. It took me a good hour or so. I'm ready to continue on going up. This is all one piece. Because that's all one piece, I think I'm going to need to break this right along here, and that's just because I know that this isn't going to come out all that easily. So let's get some more cracks going in here. Is that nice? I just felt a piece of glass hit my eyebrow. It just shows you just clearly how important it is to have safety glasses on when you're doing this job. Even if you complain about, oh, I can't see as well when I've got these on. It's like, well, if you don't wear them, you're not going to see it all. There we go. Okay, I'm going to start working around this area right here. This part, not so much, it doesn't matter. You're trying to break the glass away from around the camera lens. So I think only 1 or 2 punches should do the trick. Yeah, I think that's it. That should do it. Now you notice I'm constantly covering up the piece of glass, like where my blade is every single time. And the primary reason I'm doing that is to prevent the glass from flying all over the place. It happens regardless, but it happens less, at least, when you do that. So that's what I'm trying to do there. So now I'm going to start working around the charge coil, the wireless charging coil. I'm going to put it on lower just so you guys can hear me. Won't be as fast, but still it'll do the trick. But yeah, all I'm doing is I'm just putting the razor blade underneath, and I'm just keeping the heat moving, and then you're just lightly pulling up on the glass, moving along. There's no MagSafe with the iPhone XR, so it's not, you don't need to worry about magnets. Look how easy that came up. I'm going to go after the center part. Maybe not. No, let's just see what happens. Yeah, I'm going to go after this part. It might ping off. That's okay. Nice. Now I'm not trying to save that black material on the back of the glass here. And the reason is, it's no matter how hard you try to save it, it will eventually break on you. I'm going to see if I can slip a little bit of isopropyl alcohol underneath. I don't usually do this. Don't usually need to do this. This is being a bit of a pain in the neck. Let's try getting in there again. No heat. I just want to try to get that adhesive separated from the glass. You don't want to dig the blade into this. If you do, you'll be in quite the nasty pain of having to replace that coil, because if a line is broken in there, you're pretty much doomed. Okay, this is pretty much all separated. Yeah, here we go. When you flip this over, you are going to need to go over just making sure you give the... I'll show you what I'm talking about, but you got to make sure there's no glass sitting behind this coil. So I'll be going over that later on. Now I'm going to use that glass punch again, and it's going to be going all around that lens. Whatever you do not punch the lens like this or like this, because you will put it... I did it once. Never again. You will crack the camera lens. So I'm just trying, there goes another piece, this is why I'm wearing safety glasses. I'm trying to break up the glass as much as possible in order to make my life easy as possible for this. It's so shallow, the glass around underneath the camera lens for the iPhone XR, I just love it. It's so easy to work with. Look at that. Now it can help to use the heat gun around this area just because there is a ring around the lens that still has the glue underneath it. There isn't really much you can do about that. Just because the laser can't get to that spot. The easiest way I figure out to get around that is to put a razor blade and slip it underneath the glass and to move it around until it separates. Right here I'm just digging around with it's just a jewel flathead screwdriver bit. It's not even an expensive one, it's just a dead cheap one. I think that's about as much as I can dig out right now. I need to start digging underneath this. So what I'm doing is just gonna get underneath there and I'm just wiggling it back and forth to get underneath the adhesive, and you can just flick the pieces of glass away afterwards. Now there's going to be some bits that just don't want to come out from underneath the camera lens ring. That's fine. I'm going to go in later with that flathead screwdriver, jewel screwdriver, and I'm going to finish it off by chiseling it away with that. It'll do the trick quite well. Okay, I think that's as good as I can do. It's time to go back in with the screwdriver. I'm just going in there, pulling the bits away. There is this weird gasket you just saw me pull out away that's always around the camera lens, the iPhone XR camera lens specifically. I don't know if they are with the other ones, but I've always noticed them with that. I don't know what it's for, and I have no way to replace it. So it is what it is. Now, because this area doesn't get the laser on it all that much, I do like to chisel away the remaining glue that's still around here. Now, a final thing I like to do as well, it's really important actually, is to go around with the screwdriver and search out for little glass bits. If you hear something that sounds crunchy, it's an indicator that there's a little tiny glass chunk that's been missed. You gotta press in there to get that out. And down here as well, just be careful when you're doing this. It should be clean. Oh, there's a spot. It isn't, you know, it'll show itself. There's a piece right here. Oh, it's disconnected, that's good. But if you miss any pieces of glass at the end and you try to put the back glass in place, you may find that it's not fitting properly, and I can guarantee the primary cause of that, well, there's generally two causes. The primary cause is that you forgot, you missed a piece of glass, tiny little glass shard somewhere. The other possible reason is that either your frame is bent or the frame is broken. I've encountered that a couple of times. Alright, there we go. Let's take it out. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to give this a good whack, because I'm worried about this little guy right here having caught glass behind it. Once again, missed glass. You're wondering why your glass isn't sitting flat, the new one, the new back glass? It's because you have some glass sitting behind this charge coil. Charge coil, wireless charge coil. There we go. I'm going to go and put it into the machine. You guys can see, watch, and enjoy as the laser rapidly cleans this up. These things are incredibly sharp, but there is still some stuff that needs to be taken out. Like it never gets the glue out of the corners. It doesn't do it well, at least. So you have to go in with the blade afterwards, and you just gotta poke that out, get that out. And just some spots here and there, you'll notice that it didn't clean it up. The majority, though, look at it. it took off the majority quite well. I'm really concerned about going near this area with the chisel blade, so I won't be digging in there. This area here along the sides, I never go in with a blade. I mean, I've done it a few times, but it's never, that's working okay. It has a tendency to be not successful because it tends to dig into the frame itself too much, into the plastic. Sometimes it works, sometimes you get lucky. Yeah, that side it's digging in. So it's easier to just go in with this little jewel screwdriver instead. You see how well it's coming up? Very controlled too, so you're not likely to go and damage the frame. So when it comes to this little area down here, you're taking your thumb, you're just pushing against the frame right there, and just slowly, carefully, taking your time. You don't want to jam the screwdriver into those cables. It's a little bit less likely to cause problems, substantially less likely to cause problems than the blade, but you really want to save yourself any extra time. You don't want to have to repair something that didn't need repairing originally. There we go. It's cleaning up quick. You can see I'm controlling the tip a lot with my thumb. So I'm pushing here and pushing with my thumb there to keep the blade very well controlled. Not the blade, the tip of this screwdriver. That cleaned up so well. It's all done. Last bit. What side did I soak? This one. Last bit is to use some 99% alcohol and just go over the whole thing. So this step is really important. And the main reason why this is so important, aside like the smell, it gets rid of the smell of the soot, is to make sure that the glue sticks. The new glue that you put in sticks both to the phone and to the back glass, the new back glass. Let's clean up there is a little bit of adhesive on the edges of the coil, as well as the coil still is pretty dirty. So I'd like to give that a bit of a clean as well. Okay, that's as good as I can do. Time to switch over to the other desk and apply some glue to this. Now I can finally remove this right here. I don't need this anymore. Did its job. You can see that it's pretty dirty. Don't know if you guys can see that. Yeah, you can. It's pretty dirty. So it did what it's supposed to. So this might seem a little bit counterintuitive, but to put the back glass on, you need the screen in place, and that's simply because you need pressure. So I like to start off with the earpiece first. Then you plug in the screen. I'm not putting any shields in, don't need to, and I'm not particularly worried about the screen. The screen's broken after all, it needs to be replaced. Just push it all back into place, just like that. Now you can use E8000 glue to go and put these back glasses on, but if you're using these machines in the first place, where you can buy them, you get this special glue. It is a bit of a rubberized glue. I don't know what the name of it is. It's just a type of very light rubberized glue. It spreads well, and it comes in this thing that you can eject. So I'm just going to start spreading it. Like, there may be some gunk in this tip. I better check the tip first before I go forward with this. Very often the tip dries out a little bit. You gotta go in with some tweezers and just clean it out. So we try to follow the original pattern. You can see kind of vaguely where the glue originally was set. So I'm going to do that. And don't need to put it on heavy. It'll start squirting in through the back of the phone otherwise. Won't hurt anything. It'll just be harder to work on if you have to take the whole phone apart. Tiny amount right here. You got to keep in mind you've got a microphone right there, so you don't want to put much. And there's also a tiny drop that you can put right here. There. And the rest should be okay. Alright, now for the edges. The edges are important in this one. You can put excess, it's fine. When you get to these points, you got to bring the glue out across the pad. But if you use a little bit of excess glue on the edges, it's not a big deal. It'll squirt out the edges of the glass. You really need that seal to be good. You don't want to put an incredible amount around the camera lens. Try to make it sure it's well spread, but there is a hole right there, and I don't actually remember what's going on with that little bit there. I'm sure some of it will get into it, but As long as it's not an incredible amount, it should be fine. I've never had a problem before, I'll put it that way. I really forgot about this. Normally I go and check to make sure that it fits properly. I'd put this on first, jiggle around, make sure that it is sitting flat. I know that there's no glass missed. I did a great job on it. I know that there's nothing missing. I know that sounds like I'm blowing my own horn there, but I am very positive that it is clean. It will go flush. If it doesn't, I'll have to take it all off and give it a wipe down, but I am positive it is fine. It is a good idea, though, to put the glass on before you put the glue on, just to double check that it is going to sit flush without any issues. So you're going to get lots of fingerprints all over the back of this back glass. Little bits of glue sticking to your fingers. There isn't anything you can do about it at the moment. You could just wipe it off after. See the glue squirting out? That's exactly what I want to see. I want to see the glue squirting out of those edges. Oozing out. Indicates a good, firm seal. There we go. You see how many fingerprints from the glue? It's not a lot of glue on my fingers, but it's enough. Now, if you're doing a proper, like many people are going to say this, oh, this is so much effort, why don't you just replace it? Well, the frame with Backglass is a bit expensive, and it's an expensive repair. This is an expensive repair too, but it's not as expensive as doing a whole frame replacement a lot of times. A proper frame replacement with Backglass is optimal. It is definitely a better option than getting the Backglass replaced, because this is not, as far as I've seen, it's not as strong as the Backglasses that is provided by Apple. It's very an unfortunate thing to see, but the glass is just not, it's not as good. It makes sense. It's just glass. It's nothing compared to whatever Apple's using. So I just slipping it in. I taped the matting behind on this. It's just to protect this bit of sponge from the glue. Otherwise it'll rip it. You can use like paper towel and put that on the back instead, and then tape that down. That works great. I do that on occasion. So I'm just going to line it up as best as I can. And this, I'd say you don't need to leave it in more than about maybe an hour. Even 30 minutes is pretty good. I've taken it out after 15 minutes because of customers in a hurry. It's not optimal, but an hour is good. I'm also doing this just finger tight. I get to a point where it's hard just to like finger tight twist, and that's where I'm going to stop. You don't need any more than that. But this one's going to stay overnight. And the simple reason why is because it's late. I want to go to bed. So this is an excellent time to have this in the press. See you guys in the morning. Well, not only has it sat overnight, it's almost been in the press for about not 24 hours, but it's getting close to that. Just get it untwisted out, let it drop out. Let's take a look at this thing. There we go. It peeled away quite nice. Now you see there's a lot of glue on the edges. Now there's a few different ways to go about getting that off. You can use a little pick and just rub it across the edges like this. That works. I have a tendency to use my nail, or I do have a plastic razor blade that I use on occasion. You just go in there right from the edge, and you just go along there with that. It's a little bit hard. I prefer my nail. And after a while, once you've got the majority off, you can rub the rest off with your fingers. And I do the final bit there just to clean it up with some isopropyl alcohol, 99%, and just put that on a piece of paper towel and you rub it off. The rest, it comes off very easily with the paper towel. That cleaned up pretty good. Now, if you have some latex gloves or something like that to protect your hands while you're doing this next bit, especially if you're using 99% alcohol, because then the alcohol can really burn your hands. It's not terrible, it hurts. Leaves little white spots on your fingers. I do recommend some gloves. So all I'm doing is just rubbing it down. It takes the excess glue from my fingerprints from before, completely takes it off. Here we go. We're going to move on to the screen. Same process as before, except we don't need to heat it up. I'm just going to push a suction cup right there and lift, because there's no adhesive there holding it in place. I already removed it. Just clips. I do need to clean out the area where the seal was. It is still kind of dirty. We can get these off now. Disconnect the battery first, like usual. Here we go. I think I'm gonna go at this with a brush right now. I got a stiff brush that I like to use for cleaning up those edges, and the easiest way to do this is to dribble it in. When I'm doing this again, I don't want to have anything splash on those lenses, so I always take a little bit of Captain Tape, just like what I do with the laser machine. Just put a little bit of tape on those as far away from where the seal goes as possible, and you just make sure it's firmly pressed down onto those lenses. Just rub it with your finger is fine. There we go. Nice. Dribble some alcohol in. These are pretty cheap too. I think you can get them for like between maybe $3 and $5 on Amazon. You just put stiff brush. I might have an Amazon affiliate link in the description for it. I cannot recall. I can look into it if I don't. After doing this, you just go over it with a Q-tip with a little bit of isopropyl alcohol on it for a final cleaning. This pulls up the majority, but it leaves it all behind, just loose. And the final cleaning. Now with the screens that I get, they always put a new adhesive in with them. You can find them online if you put in iPhone XR screen adhesive replacement. You'll find it. Pull that out. Now there is True Tone that exists on the old screen, and it's not the biggest deal in the world if you can't transfer it, but I sure do like to transfer it over, so I'm going to do that. I've got a Keon Lee, what is this called, something plus, iCopy Plus, I'm pretty sure is what this one is. The version 2 point something or other, 2.0. It's the smaller of the two connectors that you want to plug in. Now read. Alright, so that has been read. Disconnect the screen. Okay, we've connected up the new one. Press right. That's the bottom button. And you can press read again if you want to see. It failed. Let's try the old screen again. It did seem a bit too quick for the writing process. That's more like it. It should take a little bit of time, usually around 10 seconds. Here we go. That screen's ready now. You can disconnect that, put it back in its box, put it away. Keep your desk as free as possible from clutter. And now we're ready to go and transfer over the earpiece. It's got about 4 screws. 3 of them are Phillips PH000, and one of them is a Y000. They are of different lengths, so make sure you put them in a pattern that you can remember. What I like to do also to make sure that all of them line up properly, because they don't always, is I don't screw them all the way down. I don't tighten them until I've gone to the final screw. That helps them greatly in lining them all up. Now with this bit here, it helps a lot to add a little bit of heat. So you just use a heat gun, low heat. Don't need to leave it on for too long. I prefer heating it from the glass side. It's basically hot to the touch, is fine. And then once you've got it heated up, you can just get your tweezers underneath and lift. You can do this without heat. It just makes it so much faster. You don't need to play around with things nearly as much. There is a little shield I forgot about that's covering over that center sensor. Just pull it up with the tweezers. Then you can get this little guy out. If it's not coming out, apply more heat. There we go. That came out quite nice. There we have it. Now keep in mind that if you damage either of these two sensors, it will likely result in Face ID no longer working. So protect those little guys, be careful with them, take your time. And this little guy right here, This one, yes, there we go, camera's focusing. That is a microphone. Line it on up, push it in, get that shield back in. That process is complete. I'm going to start off with the tiny screw first. It's not easy to replace this screw, so you really don't want to lose it. Like, there's not many on the phones. It's not a standard size compared to the others. Okay, it's not tight in there, just have it loose so that the other screws line up. Okay, now that they're all in, we can start tightening them down. Let's get that seal in. There's always a little tab right here. Mine that I always get here are 3 layers. I'm also using my fingers just to guide these into place. So you just take a plastic spudger, and I'm going to go over this. Here, I'm taking with my fingers, holding the phone, pulling this way, pushing downwards. And if you're wondering, these exact same seals also work on the iPhone 11, which is very handy. Now we can peel this layer off. Sometimes that bottom layer comes up with this. If that happens, let it go, and then you're just going to push back down with the spudger until you've got it all good. Your little spot right here has come up and is sitting on the frame. Sometimes the adhesive comes up with this, which is annoying. And when that happens, you just go back in with your spudger and you just, or pry tool, whatever we'll call this thing, and you just peel like this as you go, allowing the motion, the backwards motion, to pull it. There you have it. Now there's that spot there that's a little bit lifted. I'm going to see if I can readjust it. I don't even know how that happened. Okay, well, that's fixed. Now before we close everything up, we do need to test the screen, so don't push it in place at this point. You're just connecting things up. I don't think there's going to be any problems. I rarely have screens that are defective with the iPhones. They're very rare. Okay, so far so good. First thing I like to look for is whether or not True Tone is working. Sometimes, especially with like the iPhone 11 and up, if you do not have the earpiece connected, it will not show you True Tone because it's not capable of seeing the room properly. So you hold down on there, you should see right here, it should say True Tone on. There it's off, here it's on again. And you know also that it's turning on and off because you see the screen go like a lot more blue with the True Tone turned off. When it's on, it's a little bit, fair chunk more yellow looking. Okay, so far so good. Next step, just grab an icon like this, and you're going to move that icon all around the screen to check for dead spots in the digitizer. Okay, that's good. Just going to toss those shields back into place because this is doing what it is supposed to be doing. Okay, final check. We have all the screws in place, all shields are in place, nothing is missing, all connectors are connected. It looks good. We've got a new seal. We can close this one up. I put the top of the screen in first, like that, and then I push, like holding the phone bottom, the top of the phone like this, and then I push to make sure it all lines up properly, then push it all down into place, just like that. Yeah. Crunch, crunch. Make sure everything is connecting properly, and then we got to put those penelope screws in, and then this phone is going to be done. And now for the final bit. Isn't that nice? That's just a message saying, hey, set up your phone. Very nice. Cleaned up beautifully. I've got some fingerprints on the back, but it's looking good. So that's all there is to this video, guys. If you liked the video, please do leave a like. And if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video. Bye.